Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak Your Truth podcast, where we are on a conscious journey to enlightenment. Today, we're going to look at mindfulness, and we're going to do things a little bit different. There is a video on YouTube by Mindful News, and it is titled, "What is Mindfulness? Simple Answers, Profound Meaning." And that seemed to be right up my alley. So we thought that today we would listen to this together, and I would give you some of my ideas and feedback along with the video on YouTube. So please, let's try this out together.
There existed a magic pill that can improve your health, help you live longer, build creativity, help discover your true self, and ultimately make you happy. How much would you pay for a pill like this? What if it were free? Well, that pill exists, and it's called mindfulness.
So we're about to embark upon this, and we have already said that mindfulness is like taking a pill. And in this Western society, taking a pill sounds wonderful because it's magical and it's quick and it's immediate. And so I'm going to be really thrilled to see where he goes with this whole idea of mindfulness being the pill of happiness and peace in your life. Mindfulness, in my experience, is certainly not consciousness. It is a matter of really training yourself to become very deeply involved with whatever is going on in your life. So let's keep that in mind and let's go forward.
We have, on average, 60,000 thoughts a day. Now the trouble is, most of the thoughts are either about the past or worried about the future. Our minds can often be our worst enemy, and negative thought patterns can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and in turn will affect our physical health.
And absolutely we know that's the case. And when our thoughts, all 60,000 of them, are in the past or the future, then we're skipping over the present. And as we all know, we would like to become more present to find peace and happiness and tranquility in our lives. So until the fears that we learned in the past are healed, we cannot get them out of infiltrating our present with memories and thoughts. 60,000 a day, he says.
To demonstrate how little control you have over your mind, try this. Close your eyes and think of a blue lion. Can you do it? Now do it again, but this time, close your eyes and think of a blue lion, and only of a blue lion for 1 minute. Don't let any other thought interrupt. I bet you can't.
Why is that? Well, it's the nature of the mind to wander. And you will notice that as soon as you attempt to concentrate only on the blue lion, within a few seconds another thought will pop into your mind, like, this exercise is silly, I'm hungry, or what is this all about? It's because our mind never ceases to throw random thoughts our way.
Mindfulness helps us to take back a little of that control. It helps to develop tools, allowing us to not only notice these thoughts as they appear, but also allow us to choose the way we respond to them.
So far we're learning that in mindfulness we're becoming aware of the thoughts in the mind, so that as we attempt to look inside our mind and create the blue lion, we can no longer create the blue lion because it doesn't fit within the paradigm we have now structured within our thoughts. And so the thoughts then throw in, from fear of taking something different, throw in random other thoughts, thereby distracting you from putting together the blue lion. So now he's going to start to have you look at those thoughts that permeate the meditation or the thought of the blue lion in this case.
Imagine standing in front of a dog with a bone in your hand, waving it left to right. Then throw the bone. What will the dog do?
Now imagine standing in front of a lion, again waving the bone in its face, and then you throw it. What do you think the lion will do?
The lion might attack or might not. The point is the fundamental difference between the mind of a lion and a dog. The bone represents all of reality to the dog. The lion can see beyond the bone and has a choice on how to respond to the situation. Who is the king of the jungle? Who is the king of the inner jungle? The brain is a muscle and it can grow. Just as our muscles in the body need to be exercised, so do the muscles in the brain. Mindfulness is like doing a set of mental push-ups. As a thought enters your mind, this is the beginning of the push-up. The completion of the push-up is 1. Being aware of the thought without judgment, and 2. Bringing your attention back to the breath. It's that simple.
So in this case, we're paying attention only to the thoughts in the mind. And as the thought comes in, we become aware of it, we let it go, we come back to the breath. We become aware of the thought and back to the breath. We don't let the thought take hold of our mind. We let the mind release the thought so that we can come back to the breath. When you use a guided meditation, you can also come back to somebody else's voice because it's external. But in this particular exercise, they're bringing you back to the breath to move beyond anything in the thought process that is interrupting. I agree with that. It's wonderful. Let's keep going here.
The next thought that pops into your mind is the beginning of the next mental push-up.
Scientists have shown that just after 8 weeks of practice, the parts of the brain responsible for the positive stuff, like creativity, emotional intelligence, and happiness, physically can change shape and grow.
The amygdala, responsible for the fight or flight mechanisms related to stress, depression, and addictive behaviors, actually shrinks during this time.
The scientific evidence is so strong now that mindfulness is being employed in places like Google, Bank of America, the US Marines, and the National Health Service.
So, yes, we now have scientific research to prove something that we've known for thousands of years. That seems to be the way of doing things. And so the amygdala is the part of the brain that carries the stress and a lot of those thoughts that interrupt. And so once we become more calm and we start to move beyond those thoughts and we find the peace and the happiness and the tranquility, which is the love-based emotions in life, we find that that part of the brain starts to strengthen from research. But we also know that your experience inside starts to change, and that internal experience becomes one of more positivity and positive influence, so that the love-based emotions start to be the experience that you're looking for. That as soon as you do that, you start to shrink off the fear-based emotions as well. So whether we look at this through the brain and the research, which supports everything else, we also know that in our life, the more we stand in love, we cannot feel fear. And why? Well, by the research, it's going to tell us from the brain, but also within ourselves. There cannot be a love-based emotion where there is a fear-based emotion. There cannot be a fear-based emotion where there is a love-based emotion. So either way you look at this, as you're moving into this process, you're moving away from your fears, those are the intruding thoughts, and you're moving into acceptance and love, which are the fulfilling and embracing and expansive thoughts. So let's see where we go from here.
More profoundly, simple mindfulness exercises can give you a new lens in which to see yourself and the outside world without the ego, and also your relationship with the present moment.
It has nothing to do with religion, and it's helping us to enjoy life, be happy, and ultimately allow us to help others. Visit renaissancepodcast.com to find out more. Be mindful. The goal is the path.
So what we're looking at today is a definition of the beginning of mindfulness, which is becoming aware of the thoughts. Becoming so aware of the thoughts that you're able to release and become then aware of the breath. But the breath takes us away from the thoughts and into the body. It is in that acceptance and it is in that movement into a willingness to stay in the breath that really creates another shift for all of you. So that as you learn mindfulness, as you can see, it's not going to be just a pill, but it is one exercise that you can do over and over until you get it. And so in this meditation, you're just going to breathe, and as the thoughts come into your mind, you release them and you come back to breath. I have done I don't know if I did a podcast on the breathing, so let me reiterate, and I'm going to go over that for you now. Take a breath in and a breath out. Follow your breath in. Follow your breath out. Don't change it. Just breathe. And become conscious of that breath going in and out. As I'm speaking, I want you to do this. And just breathe in and out, and become very conscious of the breath as it goes in through your nose or mouth and down into your lungs, filling your lungs and then contracting in your lungs and coming back up through the throat and out of the nose or the mouth. And you follow consciously that breath. Now slow it down a little bit. And continue to be conscious of your breath. And now deepen it a little bit and continue to be conscious of your breath. That's the breathing exercise. Now, I can expand upon that, but I don't want to take too much time in this podcast for that. But there are several breathing exercises I teach. One is on my website, KristenBomas.com, and it takes you through breathing. And as you breathe, then the mindfulness aspect that you've learned today from Mindful News is that as the thoughts interrupt the breathing, you let them go, you become very aware of them, and you come back to becoming one with the breath. As you develop your mindfulness more and more and more, the mindfulness keeps us very, very, very much in the moment, to a point where I find you become one with whatever exercise you're doing. If I'm doing the dishes in the house, I move beyond just awareness that I'm doing the dishes, and through my breath and my focus, I find myself moving into every single touch and movement and experience of the washing of the dishes, so that you almost become one with that experience. In fact, you can become one with that experience. Very present, very, very alert. Beyond conscious is your mindfulness. We start with knowing your thoughts. A beautiful video. I recommend it for everyone. Thank you, Mindful News, for putting it up there, and thank you all for learning and taking that first step towards enlightenment by opening your mind beyond the intruding thoughts. I thank you, and I hope you'll also join me on Facebook Mondays and Thursdays for live broadcasts at 1:30, and be sure to subscribe if you liked what you saw today. Thank you very much for joining me.